The Biden administration recently unveiled what some might call an early Mother's Day gift. The president wants to give moms and all of America's caregivers a paid leave policy. NBC News political correspondent Ali Vitali joins us now with a look at what the president is proposing and how critical this help might be for some. Hey, Ali, good morning.
Hey, Joe, look, this might be a Mother's Day present if they can get it done. But the words that Joe Biden used when he addressed Congress last week were ones that advocates for paid leave have been wanting to hear for a long time. The question that they have now, though, is if Democrats on the Hill and in the White House can actually make it permanent now.
Dawn Huckelbridge's first year of motherhood nearly broke her.
I wasn't ready for what I faced.
She couldn't sleep or stop losing weight. But Dawn says she was lucky, able to take time with her newborn and time to heal.
I felt depleted in every way. But what I kept thinking is if it's this hard for me, how hard must it be for all of the women or the people who give birth in this country?
Chris Garcia was his father's caregiver. His employer wouldn't give him more than a few days to be with his ailing dad, 900 miles away.
My dad's having major surgery. He's having a quadruple bypass. I really should be here. And he's like, well, there's nobody to cover your shift.
A few days later, doctors called Chris at work. Chris was forced to give permission to remove his dad from life support by phone.
It took me almost 8 years to be able to deal with the guilt that I felt.
I wonder what having an actual paid leave policy would have done for your situation.
If I had had the policy in place at the time, it would have made a world of difference.
In a recent survey of 41 countries worldwide, only America lacks paid parental leave. Japan and Norway, for example, give new parents more than a year, paid, to be with their babies, while the U.S. gives 0. But a growing number of states, plus D.C. and Puerto Rico, have or will soon have some paid sick or parental leave policy. This year, when the pandemic laid bare the reality that illness can happen anytime, Congress passed emergency paid sick and child care leave for some workers. But it was only temporary. Now, President Biden is pushing for something more permanent.
No one should have to choose between a job and a paycheck or taking care of themselves and their loved ones.
Biden's plan would guarantee workers 12 weeks of paid leave to care for newborns, aging loved ones, or even themselves after a serious illness. The plan would pay up to $4,000 a month and bolster the lowest paid workers. It's a lofty goal with a hefty price tag. $225 billion over 10 years, according to the White House, paid for by raising taxes on America's wealthiest. But to Dawn, who now works for Paid Leave for All and whose son is now 6, it's a check America can't afford not to pay.
What I think we should have learned over the past year is that at some point in our lives, every single one of us is going to need to give and receive care. We all are one diagnosis away from a crisis.
So, Ali, what are the chances of making paid leave permanent? What would it take to get this to pass in Congress?
Well, look, Joe, the pandemic has certainly elevated the care economy to the national consciousness in light of things like the she-cession and women falling back from the workforce in order to be better about taking care of their kids or taking care of things around home. People are very much aware that care is central to American life. The question, though, is if anything is going to be done on a permanent basis about this. The Biden administration does have the wind going in their favor in terms of the public polling on this. You look at it, and across party lines, things like paid leave are popular among Republicans and Democrats. But that's not necessarily going to be the case when you get to Capitol Hill, where this legislation is likely going to have to pass. It's not clear whether Democrats are going to try to go it alone and put this through some kind of reconciliation method, or if they're going to continue to find bipartisan consensus. But remember, this is part of the American Families Plan. That's the second thing that the Biden administration introduced, and that was just last week. First, they've got to get through this idea of the American Jobs Plan. That has more of the traditional infrastructure in it, and even that is going nowhere fast right now on Capitol Hill. Joe?
All right, Ali Vitali, thank you so much.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.